Hello, hi everyone. I'm Shashi, tech lead and inventor at GeeksforGeeks. Before joining GeeksforGeeks, I was at Adobe for 2 years, and before that, I was in Paytm. So, in this webinar, I'll talk about like how you can crack your low-level design interviews, and uh, and basically how to handle those kind of questions, and what's the difference between system design, that is high level design, and the questions on low level design. And I'll then talk about like from where you can prepare for those questions, and I mean how you should approach those questions, and then you can ask any question that you want, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. So okay, yeah, so I mean I'll be reading your comments, so you can simply ask your any question. I'll be happy to answer your questions, right? So first of all, let me explain like what is the, I mean why exactly these companies ask the low level design questions, right? So the idea is, I mean they just want to, I mean know like how comfortable you are with the object oriented design principles and the design patterns that are used to create maintainable, elegant, easy to test and modular software. So if you know these principles, then you can create robust and maintainable softwares easily, right? uh, okay, so yeah, so to handle those questions, you need to know the basics of object oriented design, like what is polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, uh, and I mean what is the solid principles. And then you should know the common design patterns, like what is factory pattern, what is singleton pattern, what is observer pattern, a strategy pattern. I mean these patterns will help you to design your code in a better way, right? So these things are good to know. I'll give you one example like how exactly you should start tackling your questions, right? The one question is, machine coding round will be discussed? No. So so normally in the first machine coding round, which is the online coding round, they will ask questions on DSL Go. They will not ask questions on low level design. I think Flipkart. I mean in Flipkart the first round of interview, they can tell you to design something using OOD principles. So yeah, I mean Flipkart is exception. For other companies, in first round you will be asked questions on DSL only. Yeah, I mean, so one question is where I can know more. So of course I'll discuss, I mean the resources, like from where you can study about those things and from where you can practice those questions, right? Let me start like how exactly you should okay, so Siddharth Kumar Singh is saying, are these design patterns asked from other branch people also? Yeah, I mean, see, if your experience is more than 2 years, then of course they will ask questions on design patterns. If you are a fresher, then it's very rare that they will ask questions on design patterns. So they will ask questions on the object oriented patterns, and they will tell you to some. I mean, they will tell you to design something like design a library system, design a parking lot, design a chase game. So these kind of questions can be asked from a fresher as well. And I mean, so your branch doesn't matter. I mean, if you are appearing for these interviews, you have to be up to the mark. Yeah, I mean, I'll come to those questions like what is LLD, and I mean what is the best resource to practice the LLD questions. Okay, yeah. So let me, I mean, start like how exactly you can, I mean, handle these kind of questions. So first of all, you should know the benefits of using object-oriented design and design patterns. Like, I mean, why we should go for these things. So the benefit is that you can create your, I mean, you can make your code easy to maintain, easy to test, easy to understand for the other developers. So yes, I mean, these are the advantages of using design patterns and object-oriented principles, right? Yeah. So I mean, how you should approach this question? So I mean, the example of few examples of these kind of questions are: design a parking lot, design an elevator system, design a chess game, design an online booking reader system, design a blackjack card game. So these kind of questions are examples of LLD, low level design. So in low level design, they will focus on your, like, how exactly you are creating your classes, and how, I mean, what is the relationship between those classes, and how these classes are interacting with each other to fulfill the functionality of the whole system. And I mean, how you can apply those principles, those patterns, to make your code more robust, more maintainable, right? So that's the idea. So let's say the first question is design an online book reader system. So basically, I mean, a user can read something online, and you have to design a system for that, right? So it's a very basic question, and that are normally asked in LLD design round. So how you can approach this question? So the first thing is, the first step is to gather the requirement. I mean, you should clarify that what exactly the requirement is, and what are the features that are that are must do features. So basically, like, this question is really I mean, these kind of questions are vague, they are not clear, and the interviewers, I mean, want you to ask the questions, and they want you to clarify the requirements from your end, so that you can start thinking in the correct direction, right? So the first thing is clarify the requirements, gather the requirements as much as you can. Of course, you can't, I mean, build the whole system in just in 1 hour, or in 40-45 minutes, right? So I mean, your approach should be like, you should start from the basic requirement. Like for this problem, where a user, I mean, can read a book online, or a user can search a book online. So the simple features could be, I mean, a user should be able to search a book by the author name or subject name. A user should be able to read a book, and let's say for simplicity, a user, I mean, only one user can read the book at one time. Of course, I mean, they can extend the feature, like how you can support the feature that multiple users can read the book online. So that's a different thing, but you should start from the basics. You should start from the basic features, and if you have, I mean, if you have more time, then you can extend the features, right? So always start from the basics, and you need to clarify, I mean, the requirements from yourself, right? So okay, yeah, the second step is, I mean, define the core classes and core objects. So here, I mean, so the one obvious thing is, when you write your requirement in simple English language, then the nouns in your sentences will be the classes. Like here here in our requirement, the nouns are users, the books, the display on which the user will be reading the book. So these will be the, I mean, obvious classes. So I mean, you need to define the classes, like what exactly will be the main classes of the system, because then only you can start, I mean, designing your system, right? So you need to define the core classes, the core objects. of course, I mean, when you try to complete the complete feature, you might have to create some more classes, but that's a different thing. You should start from, the core classes. Like the core class for this system should be a library class, in which you'll have a collection of books, a book class itself, a user class, a display class, if you want that a user will be reading the book on a display, right? So yeah, so this is the second step. The third step is you need to find the relationship between those classes, like how exactly user and display is related to each other, and how exactly library and book is related to each other. So basically, a library will have a collection of books, or let's say you are building a system like online hotel booking system. So in that case, a hotel can have multiple rooms. So for that system, the core classes could be the hotel, the room, the user, a booking, or an order. So when a user will book a room or multiple rooms, so you need to create an order for the same. So in each order you will have fields like order ID, order date, time, status, payment details, payment status, the user ID, the user which is doing that transaction, that booking, and the details of the hotel, right? So these things should be the fields of the order class. So for that system, the core classes could be the user class, the hotel class, the room class, and the booking or the order class, right? And again, you might have to create a class for payment details, in which you can capture all the details of the payment, like what is the date of payment, what is the status of payment, what is the reference number of the payment, what is the currency, what is the amount used in the payment. So these things are totally up to you. When you will practice a lot of questions, you will have idea like how exactly you should design and build the classes, right? And the last thing is, like, just try to fulfill the requirement, like how these classes are helping you to how these classes are helping you to fulfill all the features of your system. So if any feature is missing, then you might have to create some new classes, right? So that's the thing. And after that, you need to apply the design patterns if they are applicable, and the object-oriented design principles if they are applicable, right? Like the one basic principle of if you have heard about solid design patterns, so in that principle, one of the principle is single responsibility principle. So that principle says that a single class should be responsible for only one thing. Like in a single class, you should not keep all the details. Like you need to create classes such that they should be cohesive, they should be low coupled, and they should be modular. So the benefit of low coupling is that, let's say you have two modules and they are not dependent on each other, then changing in one module will not affect the second module, right? So this is how you can minimize your effort to make some changes in your code. So that's the benefit of using these patterns and principles. Yes, for one question, I'll share my screen and show you like how exactly you can create your classes. So I'll do that. Yeah, let me go through some of the questions like you're asking. One is saying, can I skip these topics being a fresher? No. So like when Microsoft had visited my campus, so I'm from NIT Allahabad and I'm 16 pass out. So so I'm talking about the 2015. So at that time, one of my friend was asked the question like design a chess game by Microsoft. Yeah, so these kind of questions can be asked from a fresher. So in those questions, you might, I mean, you don't need to apply the design patterns if not required. So those questions can be solved using, I mean, by applying the basic object-oriented principles, like how you can create classes. I mean, you should have the knowledge of classes, like how you can create classes, and what will be the fields of a class, what will be the methods of a class, and which class should be responsible for which thing. And you should at least know the basic thing like encapsulation and abstraction or polymorphism or inheritance. From fresher, they will not ask, I mean, they may not ask questions on design patterns, but these kind of questions are really basic, so you can expect this kind of questions. Okay. If going for ML engineer position, they also they ask LLD questions. Okay, so okay. So for any position, I mean, the common things that they ask in the interviews are DS algo. So I mean, if you are preparing, if you are appearing for any position, they will ask questions on DS and algo. Similarly, they will ask questions on CS fundamentals like operating system, networking, DBMS, OPS, and similarly they will ask questions on these things. So I mean, they can ask questions on these things. So for the worst case, you should, I mean, you should prepare for these things as well. Do you need to design APIs for the low level design problem? Okay, so yes, so my next okay, let me do that. So the difference between low level design and high level design is that so high level in high level design you should know about like what is scalability, what is caching, what is load balancing, what are the methods of load balancing, what are the different approaches for caching, what are the protocols like HTTP or TCP, or for I mean which protocol you should go, and how you can make your system available, how you can design your database, how can you I mean how you can use sharding to make your system scalable. So in system design you will be asked questions on these things. So these are system design is simply high level design in which you have to think about the high level components like the server, the database, the caching, the messaging queue like Kafka or Apache MQ or RabbitMQ or anything. So system design questions will be asked to those who have worked on web applications, and if your experience is more than 4 years, then they in that case they will ask questions on these things. But I mean low level design questions can be asked to freshers as well. And again, I mean low level design questions can be asked to a person having 10 plus years of experience, right? But system design will only be asked to the person who has knowledge of at least 4 years, right? I mean, see, in startups, I mean, they might ask the questions on system design from a person having lesser experience, but normally they will ask questions. I mean, the system design questions to those who have at least 4 years of experience. So in those things, I mean, you should know about like how exactly the web applications are built and how they work, and how, I mean, what is load balancing, what is caching, what is database, and when to use which database. I mean, when you'll go for NoSQL, when you should use the relational DB, when you should go for replication, when you should go for clustering, and how you can shard a database so that you can handle the load, right? So yeah, I mean, so the difference between high level design and low level design is that in low level design you have to think about the classes and the relationship between them and the fields of a classes, like if you're talking about an online hotel booking system. So for that class, for which class what will be the fields, and which field should be part of which class, so that your classes can be low coupled and highly cohesive, right? Yeah, so low level design is more about so basically you are applying these principles at low level. You are thinking about the classes and methods and apply those things. In high level design, you are talking about the systems, like you're talking about the database, the DNAs, the cache, the messaging queue, the servers, the load balancers, right? So yeah, so that's the difference. One question from Saloni Tripathi is, so do we have to separate classes for each function also? No. So a single class can have multiple functions. Like let's say, if I talk about the library class, in that case, that class can have a field like add a book, in which in that method, we can add a new book to the library, and then we can have another method called search a book. In that method we can pass a string or something to search a list of books. So yes, you don't need to create different classes for each function. Ajay Gupta saying how much final year project matter. So so you must have at least 1 or 2 projects. So for fresher, you will be you'll be mainly judged on your basic on your coding skill and your problem solving skill. So more of it is on the coding scale, but still you should have a good knowledge of CS fundamentals, and having some good projects is good. But you don't need to know, you don't need to build something on ML or AI or blockchain or IoT to get a job. If you have built something on C++ or Java, or you have done anything for the project, that's fine. Having a good project is good, but without having a good project, good means without having a very impressive project also, you can crack those interviews. Okay. Please suggest best resources for preparation of 5 years of experience, guys. Okay, so for resources, okay, so we have one course for this thing, like for object-oriented design and design patterns. Let me show you the details of that course, and then I'll talk about the other resources that you can follow. Yes, so that's the course. It's a live course, and in this course we'll be talking about the object-oriented design and design patterns. So here, the purpose of this course is to help you to prepare for the low-level design interviews of the companies like Amazon, Microsoft, or Adobe, or Uber. And in this course, we'll be teaching you the design principles and the design patterns that are used to create elegant and maintainable code. So one of the the examples of these questions are designing a movie ticket booking system, designing a chess game, designing an online book reader system, designing a parking lot, designing an elevator. So these questions will be discussed in the class itself, and so it will be an online live class, so you can attend these classes from anywhere. You just need a laptop and a internet connection. So we'll be using Zoom for the live classes. So we have already live classes for DSA, DS and Algo, and Java backend. So this is a new class that we are launching in the live mode. So you will not face much issue. You won't face any issue in attending those courses. So it will be very interactive. You can ask your doubt in the class itself. So it will be very similar to the offline classes where you can ask your doubt to the instructor at the same time, right? uh, so what exactly you will learn? You will learn those design principles and patterns. You will learn how to handle those low level design questions and interviews. And of course, I mean, if you are, I mean, when you will create something in your office, your for your own startup, then these things will help you to uh, create better, I mean, modular and flexible and reusable softwares. And of course, you will have one mock interview at the end of the course. So in that mock interview, I mean, I'll be taking the mock interview, and I'll be providing you the proper feedback, like what exactly, I mean, where exactly you're lacking and on which things you need to work, right? So you can see the week wise content here. Like in week one, I'll discuss the OOPS concepts, then the solid principles, and then we have, I mean, we'll discuss the design patterns like strategy, observer, decorator, factory, abstract factory, singleton, command, and all the important patterns that are required. And in the last 2 weeks, we'll be discussing questions like design a parking lot, design an ATM, design hotel management system, design chess game. So I mean, design Amazon, Facebook, and design blackjack or deck of cards game. So I will try to, I will try to compile all the important questions that are asked in the interviews, right? So you can find the link of the course in the video description. So I mean, you can have a look at that course, uh, and you will know more about, I mean, that course, right? So I mean, we have shared the link of this course in the video description, so you can have a look at that course. Okay, so let's talk. Yeah. Okay, so let me discuss some questions like, and again, so one more thing is there, like, I mean, if you want to study by yourself, then you can use the 2 books which are really good books. So one book is Head First Design Pattern. It's a really good book, and another book is Head First Object Oriented Design and Analysis. Yeah, so these 2 books are really good. The only disadvantage of these books are you will not find questions in those books. So like in these books you will find those principles and patterns, like how you can apply those principles to create something, but in those books you will not find those practice questions, right? But again, you can find, I mean, you can simply Google for those questions and you will find some solution. So I mean, you can learn these things and free as well. I mean, if you can read these books by yourself, and if you I mean, by when you search something, I mean, when you search some questions on LLD, you will find these questions on web itself in free. Yeah. Okay. Please tell me the good website to refer LLD initially. So yeah, so for LLD, I mean, again, these 2 books are really good, and there's no single website where you can find the little things. So you need to go through some articles on Medium or some articles on Stack Overflow, where you will see some good questions. And on GeeksforGeeks also we have some LLD questions, but currently, I mean, there's not a single website where you can find all the things at a single place. For HLD also, I mean, you need to so you'll find things in at different places. Like when you search resources for system design on GitHub, you'll find some useful links. So after this video, I'll share those links in the comment section. Yeah, so I have some links where you can find the resources for system design and some questions on LLD. So I'll share those links in the comment after this webinar. One is saying, what is load balancer? So okay, I can't teach things here like, so okay, so load balancer is something which balances the load. So let's say we have a server called google.com. so on google.com, I mean the request could be let's say 1 lakh per second. So a single server can't handle all those requests, right? So you need multiple machines, you need multiple servers to handle those requests. And so basically then you need another machine that can balance that load. So that machine is called the load balancer. Again, I mean, you need to go through all the principles of distributed system, like what is load balancing, what is caching, what is database sharding, what is cap theorem, to be better at system design. Okay, so one question is, so I mean, is that course has the lifetime access? Yes. So in this course, I mean, it will be an online live course. So I mean, you will have the recording. So if you're missing a section, a lecture, then you will have the recordings, and you will have the lifetime access for those recordings. Yeah. Is there any video lecture for design patterns on GFG? Not right now. I mean, we don't have many videos on design patterns currently. Okay. Yeah, for HLD, I'll share some links in the comment section, so don't worry about that. So one question is, okay, so now I'm going to simply take one example and like show you like how exactly you can handle these questions in interviews. So when I was appearing for Adobe interview, so basically when I was in Paytm as a software engineer, so I switched to Adobe after 1 year. So in my interview at Adobe, I was asked one question on LLD. The question was, design a logistic system. So that's all he told me. That's okay, this is the question. So the first thing that I did was, I mean, I clarified the requirement, like what exactly the features he wants me to create. And then, I mean, we discussed those things and we came up with a simple feature, like, okay, so for the logistic system, a user can, so basically you need to design a system that can deliver a list of item or some items from different users, from different clients. So basically, I mean, so your system should be able to take the order from the client and process those orders. So processing those orders means you need to, so basically your system should be able to, you know, carry those items to the destination. So it's a logistic system, so you need to just, I mean, you must have some vehicles that can, I mean, that can carry your items from one place to another place, and that's how logistics works. So this was the basic, I mean, system, right? For this question, I have written the article on GeeksforGeeks. So I'll share that the link of that article as well, right? So let me show you that article and explain like how exactly I handled that question. So let me share my screen again. And yeah, so the question was design a logistic system, and I mean I have written this article, and this was asked to me in the Adobe interview. Yeah. So the features was like the system can take an order to deliver to a given destination. The order will be a list of items, and there will be a cost of each order to process, right? And user had to register himself or herself in the system so that he can create some orders, right? So the if I talk about the main classes of the system, the classes will be the user class, the item class, the vehicle class. Again, location could be a class. Location means you need to. Okay, I can use that blocker from next time. Yeah. Okay, so location and payment details would be one class, and then we can have classes like logistic system, which will be the main system of the class. Okay, and again the main class will be the order class, in which you will have the details like the date of the order and the destination and these things. Okay, it's relating. Okay. I can do one thing. I can simply share, I mean, my machine for that thing. Okay. Yeah, so this is what I can do to block the ads. Okay. Yeah, so the classes was like the one class could be the user class, and the fields of that user class could be like the name, the ID, the mobile number, the age, and other things, right? And then you can have, we will have a class called order. So order is the main class, right? And in order we'll have a list of items. So I'm writing some Java code. If you're not comfortable with that, that's okay. Yeah, so the order class will have the list of items. Okay, the first question is like how I came up with these classes. So the obvious answer is you need to okay, yeah, so yeah, so like I mean how you can design these classes. The answer is when you write down the requirements, you will have the nouns in which and those nouns will be clear. I mean, those nouns will be the core classes of your system. So the nouns in the requirements was like user should be able to give an order. The system should be able to transport that order to one place to the destination, right? And the other fields of the order should be the date at which the order is made. So it's, I mean, you can say the creation or the time of the order, and the date, the timeline before which the order should be should be completed. And you can have one field like payment details. So again, you can have a class for the payment details, in which you can keep the details of payment, like what is the method of payment, what is the status of a payment, what is the currency, what is the amount, what is the reference number, if there is a bank or third party is involved in that transfer, right? So in that class you can store those fields. In item class, again, item is simply a item, right? So in item class you will have fields like the name, the weight, the volume or size, and the other things, right? And in order class also you you should have other fields like the destination, okay. So yeah, so in other class we have fields like, we can have fields like the destination, like where exactly we need to place the order. So again, the destination could be an instance of the address class, or we can simply use the coordinates of that location as the address, right? So yeah, so these will be the main classes of the system. And again, you will have the main class, which will be the, you can say, the system class or the logistic system class, in which you will have the list of orders, right? So yeah, and you will have methods like how you can add a new order to that system, or how you can update an order, or how you can query like what is the status of that order. And then also you will have a class for vehicles. So vehicle will be used to, I mean, carry those items from one place to another place. And that, so a single order can be related to a vehicle, like which vehicle is carrying that order, so that we can track the position of that order efficiently, right? So I mean, I'll share the link of that article where you can find the details, like how you can approach those questions. Okay, so and this is how you can simply start, I mean, designing your system, and you can handle the questions in interviews. Yeah, so if you have any doubt, you can let me know. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Okay, so what level of design patterns should be expected at the Amazon SD interview? Yeah, so the one thing you can do is you can simply have a look at the interview experience of these companies, and then you will know like what exactly, I mean, which kind of question they ask. So the common questions for SD interviews for Amazon is designing an elevator system, designing a parking lot, designing a system like Cricinfo or ClickBuzz. How to know when a class can be an inner class in LLD? So it depends, like what, I mean, how exactly you are trying to implement something. Like some things are really obvious, like if you have a hotel class and you have a room class, then of course the in the hotel class you will have a list of rooms, because a hotel is made of a list of rooms. So that should be obvious. Like in case of library, we'll have a list of books, right? So library will be a different class, and book will be a different class, and the library will have a list of books, and the library class will have methods like adding a new book, or deleting a new book, or searching a book by the author name or the subject name. Okay. If I have worked only developing tools and not web application, then SLD. Yeah, Rahul is saying that, I mean, if someone has not worked on web application, then I mean, okay, so in that case, system design questions will be asked or not. So It's rare that you will be asked questions on HLD, which is system design, if you have not worked on web applications, because it's very tough to, I mean, if you're not worked on web, then you will not have idea like what exactly the server is, what is client, what is the messaging queue, what is cache, what is database, and what is, I mean, how exactly the web works. So in that case, it's very rare that they will ask questions on HLD. But if you are applying for that profile in which you, I mean, might have to work on the web, in that case they can ask questions on HLD. But normally, uh, if you are, let's say, working on desktop applications or uh, some standard application where you don't have to work on web, in those cases it's very rare that they will ask questions on HLD. Okay, please explain human diagram. It's, I mean, okay, it's not possible to explain the diagram here, so you can simply search for a video on YouTube and you'll find like how exactly you can create a human diagram. Okay, so inner class is different from composition. Yes, so the classes can be related to each other, like they can have aggregation, they can have composition. So these things are simply to tell about the relationship between them, like how exactly they are related. So aggregation and composition are the two things that are used here. And see, you don't need to know those things. I mean, if you have the basic idea like how exactly these things are built, then you can design these things easily. Okay, so you can ask, I mean, more questions if you want. Like we have 10 minutes more. I mean, I'm done with my content. Like I don't have anything to share. So I'll be sharing the link. I mean, these links, like the links for system design and the links for resources of LLD as well in the comment section after the webinar. But currently, you will ask the questions on anything that you want. Okay. Okay, someone is saying I have 13 years of experience and okay. The one question is I have 13 years of experience. However, first 4 years I was on development. After that, okay, after that DevOps and testing most of the time and planning to enroll for the backend development. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so in the backend development course we teach about like how you can create a web application using Java, Spring Boot, and Kafka and Redis, and we use MySQL for the database. So I mean, in that course you will learn like how exactly the client server works and how exactly a request is sent to the server and how the server process that request to send the response to the client, and what is the microservice architecture and how you can use the caching or a relational DB to create a complete system, complete backend system. I mean, I'll share that link as well. You can go through that link to find the more details. Suggest some good companies to target in Gurgaon. Okay, so in Gurgaon, good companies are Google is there in Gurgaon, Amazon, and all your rooms, Airtel Bank, Expedia, Paytm. Yeah, so these are the companies in Gurgaon. Uh, One question is, what is the most important aspect that we should cover in LLD interviews? Of course, classes and relations. What else you think should not be missed? Gaurav, it depends on the experience. Like, how much experience do we have? So, if you're a fresher, then they will not expect much from a fresher. If you are able to create the classes, if you're able to define the relationship between them, that's good enough to crack the interviews. If your experience is more than 5 years, in that case, I mean, you should be able to use the design patterns if they are required. So I mean, creating classes is not sufficient. You need to uh, design the classes in such a way that your your system should be modular, and it should follow some well-defined principles and patterns. So it depends on like how much experience do we have. Please explain how to prepare for SD2 interview. So okay, so for SD2 interviews, uh, I mean, again, the main focus will be on your coding skills. So be good at coding. I mean, be really good at coding. So you must be really good at DS and Algo, and you should be good at CS fundamentals like operating system, DBMS networking, some puzzles, web security as well if you have worked on web, and then you should know your previous work, or your current work, like what exactly you are doing in your current company. So I mean, questions on your current project will be asked, so you should prepare for those things as well. Apart from that, you can expect questions on LLD and HLD. So the best thing that you can do is simply go to the interview experience of these companies, and when you will learn like you will learn like how exactly which kind of questions they ask, and most of the questions you will find on GeeksforGeeks itself. Can I apply to GFG SD1? Yes, I mean, you can apply. So you can go to carriers of GFG, and yeah, I mean, our team will contact you. Okay, so thanks. I mean, I'm done with my content, so I'll share the links in the comment section. And okay, I can take the last one question. So the last one question is, what's the difference between composition, aggregation, and association? Chandrasekhar, you can simply Google these things. Like, it's very difficult for me to explain here. Is this course in C++ or in other language? The course is in Java. So if you know C++, then you can understand the code of Java very easily. So the syntax is quite similar. So you will not face any issue to understand the code in Java if you know C++. Okay, so one question is, what is LLD? So what is, I had already answered this question of like, what is LLD? Does Amazon expect system design? So Suraj, yes, I mean, so if your experience is less than 3 years, then they will not ask questions on HLD, but they can ask questions on LLD. Okay. Utkarsh, I think, why did you leave Paytm and Adobe? Because GeeksforGeeks is better place. I mean, for me, it's a better place to work, and I find my work really interesting, and I'm really happy here. So that's the main reason. No, we are not going to code anything today. I mean, the idea of this session was just to explain like what exactly the LLD is and how you can handle those questions. And basically, I mean, I just wanted to interact with you, like how, I mean, what exactly your doubt is, and how I can help you to answer your questions if you have any. So that was the idea of this session. uh, how to apply for Amazon. So okay, so the one thing is like I mean, you must create your LinkedIn profile. You can get a lot of calls on LinkedIn itself. Apart from LinkedIn, you can create your profile on Naukri.com or Indeed.com or InstaHire, Hire. There are a lot of websites where you can create your profile, and recruiters will contact you. I mean, if your profile is good enough. Good enough means if you are from a good college, if you are from a good company, or if you have done something really impressive. So guys, he could not handle work pressure. See, there's no work pressure in Adobe, right? So it was a really chill company. Come on. How the resume should be like to attract the recruiters. Okay, so this is the last question of this session. So how the resume should be like to attract the recruiter. So the content on the resume should be attractive. So if like your college name is really important, if your experience is less than 2 or 3 years, your current company matters to get the interview call. Like if you are, let's say, if you are in Microsoft, then you can easily get call from Google, right? So that's the thing. Or if you are in a well-known startup, let's say you are in Oyo Rooms, then you can easily get a call from Google or Microsoft. Okay, so thank you. I'll show those links. Don't worry. Thank you.